I plead not guilty to this deed. We were just drinking at the bar. They think I hit you with my car, though I don't really know how, without me damaging the plow. So we found you in the snow. How you got there, I don't know. Brian Albert's was the place where we found your broken face. All the witnesses at trial claim their phones can all but dial. The McCabe say they're your friend, but the truth they surely bend. They will pull out all the stops, protecting all the crooked cops. And those cringy texts I sent to the agent that was banned were removed in single threads by machines owned by the feds. So Detective Brian's dreams were not disturbed by my shrill screams. Carrie Roberts testified, didn't fake it when she cried. Unlike Jen, who likes to mock a state of horror and of shock. It was February 22 when I last set eyes on you. Death is such a nasty thief of your life, Johnny O'Keefe.
I was just saying hello, welcome. Did you miss me? Because I missed you. And you, and you, even you. I was just laughing because I was hoping my mic was muted while that song was playing because I was not doing a very good rendition of it. All right, welcome back to this Sunday night, the Defence Rests. And I will admit, Jodie went down a rabbit hole. Yep. Facts and evidence. And thank you. Haven't had dinner. Just had my housemate throw me a coffee. And we get straight into it. So I thought, I've had a lot of people in the chat comment to me that they're adamant that all the evidence proves and points that Karen is guilty and that she did it and it was intentional, blah, blah, blah. And I thought instead of answering every text message, I would do a presentation on it to try and explain how I got to the conclusions I've got and what actual facts and evidence we have in this case and what they actually prove. So, with that, as I said, I went down a rabbit hole. I got as far as the definitions of evidence and beyond reasonable doubt and burden of proof and all that. And I think I put two facts down, but we'll wing it. We'll be fine. All right. So let's go from the start, shall we? Now, before I actually go any further, these are my opinions and my opinions alone. I am not in any way, shape or form a lawyer or an investigator, and I never profess to be, but what I am is logical, methodical, and sensible and realistic. And I have 52 years of life experience, and basically, thank you. I'm a bit OCD on the details, so things appear in my head differently than most, I think. My family would agree with that. Anyway, thank you, sweetheart. I hope you like it. Right, so what I started at the start with, I wanted to define what evidence means and what I think evidence means. My camera's been moved. Oh, God, my hair is a mess. Lordy be. Anyway, So, in my opinion, evidence is proof beyond a reasonable doubt that an action and a reaction occurred. So, the example that I thought of was someone slapping me on the arm. Okay. So, to have evidence that that existed, I would need a red mark on my arm. To prove who did that beyond a reasonable doubt, I would need to take measurements of that imprint and the mark on my arm. I'd need to take measurements and imprints of the hand whom I thought it believed to created that mark. I would have to take swabs of DNA and match it to the person, possible fingerprints, blah, 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 blah. So you have an action and a reaction that match to create beyond a reasonable doubt that then becomes evidence instead of a fact or a speculative piece of information, in my terms. Dictionary's definition is the available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. Same shit, really. So then I thought, okay, reasonable doubt. So, as we know, the burden of proof is on the prosecution, and that doesn't change. And so the definition is the extent to which a case must be proven for an individual to be found guilty of an offence. A reasonable doubt exists when the fact finder cannot say with moral certainty that a person is guilty or a particular fact exists. So the prosecution bears a legal burden of providing every element of an offence relevant to the guilt of the person charged. Every element. Okay, so they have charged her with, I think, second-degree murder, which means there is intent. It's an intentional action that she has taken. So what I wanted to do was try and differentiate between the actual evidentiary facts that we have and the speculation or the mitigating circumstances. All right. So the mitigating and circumstantial evidence, yes, you can draw or reasonably draw a logical conclusion from, but they are not factual evidentiary proof that something occurred. So for an example, we have 45 pieces of taillight lens from Karen's LX 570 Lexus SUV. Those 45 pieces combined together to match and fit the taillight assembly of said Lexus. We have Karen's taillight assembly that has a broken taillight lens. So we can prove that those 45 pieces did come from Karen's car because they fit there. But what they don't do is prove that that taillight, caused the death of John O'Keefe. You get me? So yes, we have 45 pieces. But that in itself does not indicate that that's what caused his death. Now, the fact of the matter is Officer John O'Keefe lost his life. So as per the autopsy or the preliminary autopsy results, they have stated that the death was caused by blunt force trauma and hypothermia. The evidence to prove that is the actual injuries, the impact of injuries to his skull and the laceration to the back of his skull, which is consistent with blunt force trauma. And there was actually tissue changes within the pancreas that were consistent with hypothermia. And obviously you can draw a speculative conclusion that he was found in the snow. So you can reasonably assume that hypothermia was a contributing factor. Okay. So that's the evidence. That's proof. So that's how he died. What they can't say is the manner in which he died. So they can't say what caused that blunt force trauma. So they can't say whether it was a fist or whether it was a piece of steel or whether it was a car. That hasn't been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Yes, Gabby, there was what she did, she swabbed the entire lens of the right passenger side tail light lens with one swab, and it came back with DNA that was consistent with John O'Keefe in that he couldn't be ruled out of being one of, I think, the 3 contributors to that sample. But that, to me, he's in a relationship with Karen. So if you swabbed the steering wheel, you would find his DNA there. If you swabbed the dashboard, you would find his DNA there. If you swabbed anywhere, it's not. No, they didn't say that. It wasn't enough. They had to send it off for mitochondrial DNA. They had to send it to a separate lab. So there wasn't enough material to do a full DNA analysis. They had to send it out further analysis, which is, I think, 2 days ago. That was all the big words that all the experts said. And you know, when you say too many big words, my brain just goes. But yes, they did find, and the hair as well. That was inconclusive, really. But there was no other DNA found anywhere. So their theory, hello, sweetheart. Their theory of him being hit by the taillight and dragged. I've got a cat behind me scratching at my chair. There was no DNA found on the mud flap or the tires or anywhere like that. So, and his fingerprints will be everywhere. They shared a car. It's not an unusual thing, and it doesn't prove. Like, if you put that on itself, so if you swabbed my tail light and my dog died, does that mean I killed my dog? Because the dog had rubbed past the tail light and there was the dog's DNA on it. That's what I'm trying to say, that in itself is not conclusive of evidence or proof beyond a reasonable doubt that is the manner of John's death. Does that make sense? I'm trying to articulate it as best as I can. All right, so I kept coming back to this 2-inch laceration on the back of his head, and then I went down this rabbit hole of of the strength of polycarbonate and how much force it would take to break polycarbonate, and then how much force and pressure it would take to fracture a skull. And then that led me down all sorts of stuff. And my flatmate's a mechanic, and I was talking to him about it. And I said, was it saying that, you know, she had to have gotten up to 24 miles per hour to well, apparently she got to 24 miles per hour at the point of impact. And he said to me, I don't know that the Lexus can go 34 miles per hour in reverse. It's got limiting, what did you call it? A limiting inhibitor or something? Speed inhibitor. It's got speed inhibitors. And I'm like, what?
Sorry, speed limiter.
Speed limiter, yes. It can only go a certain speed in reverse because it's designed to drive forwards, and reverse is more designed for handling and maneuvering, and so it's speed limited, and it's generally speed limited to below first gear. Is that right? First gear? Speed of first gear. Well, Turtle Boy Turtle Boy did do a reenactment of that. I don't know if you saw that right in the same spot where he was found. Yeah, I've done a little bit of a presentation. I haven't seen Turtle Boy's reenactment of it, but I figure we're both using the same information, so we should come to the same conclusion. I'm hoping. So tell me if I'm right. All right, so I'll put this up. So yes, there is a bit of a graphic content warning because I have used John's pre-autopsy photos to compare what I'm trying to explain. All right. So let me get rid of this. I don't need that up there. I've got my coffee. So what I tried to do was put this in perspective. Pause. Okay, so we've got Karen's Lexus. Okay. Now, the constants there are obviously gravity, the weight of the vehicle, and the size of it. We've got John, who is, I think, 6 foot. We have the direction of force, which the car was traveling in reverse. And then you add to that the variables. So you've got your inertia, speed, the traction, it was snowy, and John's position. So if John was standing straight up, as you see in this picture, the first point of impact would be the lower bumper. And the second point of impact would be you can see the red line that I've put through there where it's in line with the tail light. Second point of impact would be the tail light, and that would be directly at his pelvic, or starting at his knees and pelvic abdominal area, okay, where that initial point of force would hit his body if he was standing straight and upright, okay? For him to have received the laceration to the back of his skull in that fashion, he would have had to have been bent over forwards in 90 degrees, so bent at the waist at 90 degrees, and then have his head turned to touch his left shoulder so that the back of his head was facing the Lexus and his face was facing Brian Higgins's car. Yeah. So the point of impact would have of the taillight would have had to have hit the back of his skull in that position for that injury, that blunt force trauma, to occur. Does that make sense? So yeah, he would have to have been bent forwards at 90 degrees and facing away from the car at 24 miles per hour for that injury to occur. Now, let's go to the next one. So that's the damage to the tail light, and that's a tail light undamaged on the bottom right-hand side there. And then we went into how thick the tail light was and what force it would take to break the tail light and what force it would take to fracture the human skull and what... Yeah, that's why I was late. I apologize because I just got right down this rabbit hole and never end up finishing all of my presentation. All right, pause there. So that's the injury to the back of the skull that he sustained. Where are we? Yes, correct. And there was no broken bones. Yes, that's right. There was nothing, no injuries below the neckline at all. So my other point is, if she was traveling 24 miles per hour in reverse, and he was bending at 90 degrees forward with his head to the left in the proper position, hitting the back of the skull, the direction of force and the inertia would throw him onto Brian Higgins's car, Jeep. Not 90 degrees and 9 foot to the left onto the lawn of Brian Albert. And I was listening to Rob on Law and Lumber, and he decided that he was going to try and test out if he could go 24 miles per hour in reverse in a open car park, bitumen car park, or asphalt as you guys call it, an empty car park. And I think he got to 17 before he felt really, really, really uncomfortable about driving, and he said he couldn't control the steering particularly well at that speed. So he wasn't able to get up to the 24 miles per hour. And how much distance did she have to get to 24 miles per hour? Which was another rabbit hole I went down. The acceleration of a Lexus LX 570. And anyway, I know a lot about Lexus tail lights now. Turtle Boy said they were 60 foot from where he was found in reverse, going to 60 foot from where he was found. 60 foot from where this, and don't forget it was, yeah, exactly. Yes. It was snowing at the time. Her traction, that was the point I was going to get to with the crash reconstruction guy that came on the other day. They didn't take into account the fact that there may not have been traction. There could have been ice on the road, like, you know, how you get black ice in the snow on the asphalt. The wheels could have been spinning. So the readouts that he had may not have been as accurate as they could have been because there was no traction. Capici? I'm not repeating myself, hopefully. So with these injuries, you know how I did that that overview of how my theory on how I believed that these injuries occurred. The injury that I believe he sustained is a contre coup injury, which means that the point of impact was at the rear of the skull, but it had such force that it catapulted the brain inside the skull cavity, and the impact was felt at the front side, so at the front of the skull, which would then have ruptured all the blood vessels behind the eyes and filled the orbital spaces full of blood and fluid, which is what we see here. So the full impact would have been felt at the front of the skull, if that makes sense. Then she allegedly backed up to it. Yeah, exactly. Well, they're saying that, I thought they said that she hit him and then dragged him, which is how he got the marks, the lacerations to his arms. But yeah, we don't know because the coroner, the manner was inconclusive, so they don't know what caused it. They know that he died from blunt force trauma and hypothermia, but they don't know what caused the blunt force trauma. And they also didn't do any swabs. They did swabs of his clothing for canine DNA, but they didn't do swabs of his actual lacerations on his arms for canine DNA either. So, which is a bit silly, really. All right, so where am I end up just copying and pasting a few things. Let's go to the next slide because I didn't have time to write them down because I went down this, as I said, I went down this rabbit hole and end up converting gigapascals and yeah, you don't want to know. All right, so the shoe. Yes, we have a Nike shoe. It is fact. The shoe in itself, though, does not prove beyond reasonable doubt that Karen Reid's rear tail light intercepted with John O'Keefe's skull and caused his death. Simple. Same as finding the hat. I mean, it doesn't matter how many times they went to 34 Fairview Road. It doesn't matter how many pieces of tail light they found over how many days. At the end of the day, all of those pieces put together are still circumstantial. They're still, yes, they belong to Karen's car. Yes, they fit together perfectly, but they still don't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that was the manner in which John died. Doesn't prove that she murdered him. Because all these comments that I've been getting in the chat and in messages, everyone is saying all the evidence points that he's guilty, that she's guilty. And as far as I'm concerned, they haven't met their burden. They haven't met their they haven't given me beyond a reasonable doubt with anything. It doesn't matter how many sleazy texts Brian Higgins sent her. Doesn't make her guilty. Doesn't give you intent, and it certainly doesn't prove murder. It doesn't matter how many names, Mr. Idiot Proctor calls her. It doesn't matter what. Yeah, I mean, it does matter that he said it, but it doesn't matter how many texts he sent to how many friends. That does not make her guilty of murder beyond a reasonable doubt. This is all just additional speculative stuff that the prosecution is. I think they're trying to baffle the jury with bullshit at the end of the day. What's that, sweetheart? Problem here, Jody, is unfortunately here in Massachusetts, people believe if you're arrested, you're guilty. Yes, a lot of people forget that you're innocent until proven guilty. Correct. And also, you've got to remember that a grand jury is basically, they have a way, 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 way lower burden to achieve. They have the preponderance of evidence, and they are allowed to take in speculative information. They are allowed to include hearsay. They are allowed to include all that stuff as part of their assessment. So to have a grand jury indictment isn't all it's like. They can indict on theories. So that in itself isn't proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So it just, all of this stuff, all the stuff surrounding this, the text messages, the phone calls, the butt dialing, the the cell phone data, and we all know where she's not disputing that she drove to 34 Fairview. She's not disputing any of that. She's told everyone where she went. So to put all this mobile cell phone data in that basically says, that's where she was at that time. We all knew that. No one's disputing that. But that still doesn't prove murder. And because O'Keefe was a Boston cop officer and the police are everything, if there is even a hint of guilt against a cop, forget about it. You'll never change someone's mind. It's very, very sad. Yes. 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 So in my mind, I'm trying to explain that there's all of these things that combine together that you could make a reasonable inference and speculation on what has happened. And we probably will never, ever, ever know. The only person that knows is John, and he's not here to tell us, unfortunately. I don't personally for a second believe that Karen is guilty at all. I don't believe the state has met their burden. But that's not why. Well, that's one of the reasons why I believe she's innocent. But I don't believe that she has done this. I don't believe she's guilty as charged, basically, at all. What other evidence do we have? I drove I drove for 2 hours today, and I had all of this in my head, and I'm like, "Yes, this is how I'm gonna present it, and this is what I'm gonna say, and this is bit this oh, yes, and that's this bit," and then I get here and I'm like, I can't remember any of it. So what do you think, Gabby? The other thing was that did I say if she's going in reverse at 24 miles an hour, it's not going to throw him sideways 90 degrees, 9 feet onto the lawn. It's going to launch him backwards, if anything. And so we went down this, I'll put up the next slide. Went down this pressure. How much pressure would it take to break a tail light, a polycarbonate tail light? Okay, so the maximum speed in reverse of an LX. I started off Googling how the speed limiting for the LX 570 in reverse, and I came across a few things first. So the maximum speed in reverse gear varies depending on the vehicle. In general, the reverse gear in most cars is designed for low speed maneuvering rather than high speed driving. Typically, the maximum speed in reverse gear is limited to around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now, when I read that, I'm like, oh my God, I've got to ring Jackson. But then I read on. For most vehicles, exceeding this speed can be dangerous and may cause damage to the transmission or other components of the vehicle. It's important to always follow the manufacturer's recommendations and guidelines for operating your vehicle in reverse. So then I went in and tried to find the actual model number to the right passenger tail light to the manufacturer so that I could work out what force and pressure it would take to break said polycarbonate and how thick was it and blah, 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 blah. I believe my opinion, I believe the state has not. No, she's not. They have not. Definitely not. Thank you. I think it's I talk in my head way too much and and then I feel like I have to share. But can't always share what I want to share because I forget. All right, so this was a bit of a rabbit hole I went into and just copied and pasted a few things. So, and actually, when I was looking into it, I actually found a forum where someone had done the same search as me. So it says many people want to know if Karen's car could, because I would never have thought that there would be a speed limiter on a car. It didn't even occur to me. No idea. So many people wanted to know if Karen's car could go 24 miles an hour in reverse, like because there is manufacturers' guidelines and policies and protocols so that it's limited to a speed so that it can't roll over and Nick?
Sorry?
It's limited in speed in reverse so that it won't roll and
Speeds in reverse can cause safety issues.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Speed in reverse can cause safety issues. So they limit it to a certain
Acts like a forklift.
Cool. So then it said not many of us drive in reverse over more than 5 miles per hour unless you're a stunt driver. So the research on a 2021 Lexus LX 570, he did some research, and it goes into nanometers and engine power and RPMs and all the rest of it. And apparently it RPMs at 7,000, doesn't it? At red lines?
Just underneath.
Yeah, just under 7,000. So he got the specs of the car to determine the RPMs and the value that would be when driving at 25 miles an hour in reverse. Oh God, he goes into ring and pinion gear ratios and stuff. Okay, yeah, that's way too. Anyway, there's links. There's links there that I've included, so that if you want to go further, you can have a look at the transmission ratio, RPM calculators, and all that sort of stuff. And then you add in the torque in nanometers to determine what percentage of engine power is achieved at that RPM, blah, 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 blah. And it went on. So feel free to click on those links and do some research if you should be so curious. So he was curious, though. So he said, so hypothetically, find the max reverse speed possible this car based on its RPM redline and 6K RPMs, and that equates to a speed of 66.36 miles per hour. So the answer to that is yes. Karen's car could go 24 miles per hour in reverse if she was capable of controlling that. Now, as I said, Rob from Law and Lumber tried to do it, and he could only get to, I think, 18 or 19, and he was really, really, really uncomfortable at that, and he could not keep the steering straight at that speed. And then you add in the factor of the snow and ice and all the rest of it, and there's no way she could. And then the actual impact at that speed with the pressure that it would take to break that tail light and fracture the skull, she would absolutely 100% be aware of it. Because then I started thinking about all the time. Well, this one time I hit a kangaroo, believe it or not, or a wombat. Wombat is like hitting a brick wall. You know. In fact, how many cars have been totaled by hitting a wombat or a kangaroo in Australia? Like, yeah, hitting a wombat is like hitting a brick wall. It just bends everything completely out of shape. I think so. I think they've actually, no, I don't know if they've gone down this rabbit hole, but in doing so myself, I proved that it is possible that it could go 24 miles per hour in reverse. So there was no need to go any further because I wanted to see if it was possible. That was my point. If it wasn't possible that the car could go 24 miles per hour in reverse, then it would be important, but it's not. So that was the point I was trying to make. In regard to vehicle stability control, there are several systems which work together to aid in keeping the driver from losing control through sensors, the wheel speed sensors, and yaw rate acceleration sensors. If you want to read more about it, this very well designed car, you must own a Lexus, and how it navigates through all these types of terrain and unexpected scenarios, there's another link for you to go and have a deep dive yourself. It was actually very interesting. And I probably won't sleep tonight because this will all be going through my head. Okay, so, oops. Back one, Jody. Back one. No. Forward. Forward. This is what I was trying to upload whilst you were waiting. All right, so how much force can polycarbonate withstand? Stop it, that's cheating. Polycarbonate is about 30 times stronger than acrylic and about 250 times stronger than glass. It can withstand 900 pounds of impact. Because polycarbonate is so much stronger than these other materials, it's more resistant to breaking under pressure or impact. A skull fracture occurs when a strong force causes a break in the cranial bone or the skull. Because I wanted to know, all right, if the tail light can sustain 900 pounds of impact, is that going to that 900 pounds of impact on a skull? What would that cause? Would that cause the skull to completely disintegrate, or would it just scratch the surface? So then I looked up how much force it would take to fracture the skull. So to be specific, it's 1,100 pounds of pressure force needed to break a human skull. The skull is fairly strong and resistant when it comes to impacts to the head, and then it went into gigapascals, blah, 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 blah. The upshot of it all is a polycarbonate tail light will break before a human skull will. Interesting fun fact for you. Right there. Breaking news. According to this, that's what will happen. Next one. Is there a next one? Oh, no, we're back at the start. Yeah. I found it interesting anyway. But then I wasn't. My flatmate had to help me get my head around the 1,100 pressure, and then he started going on. It depends where the point of impact was on the force, and it's like if all the force was pinpoints directly to the tip of a needle, that then changes the whole concept of it, doesn't it?
Direction of angle.
The direction of angle.
Acute, obscure.
Yeah. There is so many variables that. Yeah. So many and I just my head's spinning a little bit, I must say. I'll take that down now. Yeah, because it got into a lot of maths, and I don't do maths very well. English was my subject, and maths definitely not, and especially not late at night either. Now, what happened on? So I did Friday morning of the trial, didn't I? I didn't do Friday afternoon. Let's have a look, see what happened Friday afternoon, shall we? Oh, look, I just got on YouTube and it says the defence rests is live. I wonder if I can I watch myself streaming? Let me see. Can I share the screen? Share screen. Let me see. Can I share the screen? Look at that. And there's a delay. Yes, I'm a dickhead. Can I share the screen? I'm watching myself watching myself. And there's a delay. Now, how do I stop? Yes, I'm a dickhead. Stop sharing. Oh dear. I just had my own laugh echo in my ear. Sorry about that. That was really weird. I didn't think I could do that. There you go. I actually did laugh because Friday we had all the IT issues. Well, it wasn't IT issues. Apparently, what happened was a juror was caught on camera accidentally by the cameraman, and Auntie Bev had a bit of a conniption about it. And yeah, so all the camera angles were changed, and that didn't last very long. So in those, like, it was an hour and a half at the start, and then there was another, I think, half an hour gap when the very first lady with the maroon headdress on, and she was talking about the Jennifer McCabe. Like, I can't understand how she spoke for like an hour and a half, and she was given the task, one task, the 227 Google search on Jen McCabe's phone. That there was no other data that she was given. That was what she had to explain why that search didn't happen at 2:27 and it happened at 6:34 or 6:33. And the more I listened to her and the more they questioned her, the more questions I had, and the more it sounded to me like it didn't make any sense. Because yes, I understand the preemptive texts and the preemptive words that they use, like Google uses if you've typed in something before. But for the preemptive text to come up on how long does it take to digest food, that would have been the preemptive text that came up with her search, her second search. But there would have had to have been a prior one to that, and everything was the same right up until the DI. So she would have had to have typed in how long does it take to DI before the next time she did a search, it preempted what she was looking for. And it just so happened that digest food was the first thing that it recommended. That's how my brain understood it. So to me, she still didn't explain how that search came up at 2:27, regardless of what browser she was using or what tabs she had open on her mobile and whether they were inactive or active. You can't go back 4 hours and say, oh, well, I preempted it, my search 4 hours prior to what I was thinking before I thought it. They're just putting so many unnecessary details to just, it's almost like they want, the defense wants your head to explode on facts that are not even really relevant to the basic fundamental issues of the case, the basic facts of the means and manner of his death and what caused that, beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt. And they are yet to convince me at all, beyond a reasonable doubt. They haven't even come close. And the more they present, the further away from reasonable doubt I get, because most of their argument bites them in the butt and works out to be in the defence's favour. If I was a jury on that trial, the state would have lost on. Absolutely. I mean, basically, the defense doesn't actually need to do a thing. That their job is to pretty much poke holes in the prosecution's case. Yeah, they don't need to do that because the prosecution's doing a good enough job of it of their own. And the credibility of the witnesses, they're destroying themselves as well. Which is why I found it very interesting how Jackson changed tactics when he was cross-examining Tully, because he didn't attack Tully's credibility so much as he attacked Tully's ability to manage the investigation and be aware of all the factors of the investigation. So he attacked the investigation's credibility instead of personally. Does that, because Tully was such a well presented and came across as such a I can't remember the word, but a credible witness. Basically, he came across as a credible witness in my eyes. Had I not known anything prior to that and just took him at face value, yes, was very forthright, confident, great. So it was interesting to see him in comparing his cross-examination of Proctor to the cross-examination of Tully, the two completely different methods that Jackson used to achieve pretty much the same result. And the same with the cell phone data, the towers. That I don't see how many pings her phone on a cell phone data tower proves that she intentionally murdered John O'Keefe by reversing into him with her Lexus at 24 miles per hour. Everything comes back to that. Everything. It has to. They have to prove every aspect of those charges, every element. So if it's second-degree murder, they have to prove it. They have to prove the intent as well. Otherwise, it would have to be a lesser included charge. They wouldn't be able to charge her with that. unless they could prove beyond a reasonable doubt. So they've really got a high bar as far as I'm concerned. I don't think they're going to meet it. They're up to what, 60? Are we up to 68 witnesses now? I think the investigation has been shoddy. The collection of evidence has been shoddy. Their expert witnesses have been mediocre at best. What does that say? One thing I will say that could hurt her, in my opinion, is her smirks during it. Yeah, but then that's not a legal thing. They cannot convict her for smirking. They can't say that because she smirked, she's guilty of murder. They still have to come back to beyond a reasonable doubt. They have to. It's a legal requirement. And that's why Bev always says things like, no, I'll strike that because, or you can't use that information in your deliberations because they can only use factual evidence in their deliberations. That's all they can do. They cannot use the lawyer's statements. They can only use witness testimony in the trial. It has to come back to that. Legally. Otherwise, they're not doing the job. That's why she asks them too if they have seen any research or have, seen anything about the trial before they come in, because they're not allowed to be influenced by any other factors. That's bias. So at the end of the day, every just when you watch the trial, every expert they put up, every piece of evidence they put up, every argument they put up, ask yourself, does that convince me beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen intentionally murdered John O'Keefe by reversing into him with her Lexus, hitting him in the head with her taillight? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day, in my opinion. And I think Jackson, he was so mad on Friday afternoon. Did you see the glare? Oh my Lord, I actually did a short on it because the glare he gave the witness as he was walking out. Holy crap. Where is it? Jackson, no, that's not one. Jackson glare. Here we go. I saved it as Jackson glare. Oh, on Canva. Really, Jodie? No, that's not what I want. Where is it? Come on. I put it up on YouTube yesterday. Oh, how about I go onto my thing then? On there. Switch. That one. I've had some amazing response this week to all my live streams and some awesome support. Like I've almost doubled. I have doubled my hours and my subscriptions. So yeah, you guys are just way awesome. Thank you very much. Now I've lost where I am with my videos. Get out of there. Did everyone see the update on Ty Tucker as well? He's got his motions hearing tomorrow. All right, share screen. Present. Share screen. That one. Share. There. Oh. Idiot. I saw it. Did you? No. I saw everything. Why didn't that go to the full thing? Come back to the start. Pause. Stop. Why isn't that sharing? Remove. Add to stage. Share this tab instead. Ah, there we go. Okay, ready? Wait for it. Hang on. Yeah, that's right. Ready, steady, go. But look at his face. It's like his head's about to explode. Oh, I would not want him looking at me like that. Ever. It's like it's like coming home after your curfew and your mother looks at you with that face. And then this one cracked me up as well. Share screen. YouTube details. Yep, that's the one. Share. So pause. Share this tab instead. As soon as I open that window, it flicks me over to the next one. All right. And play.
Laughable. Just
Understood.
stick to what the arguments are. And
With
quit
respect to this
Well,
witness,
hold on. Quit the finger pointing, name
Quit the
calling,
finger
things
pointing.
like that, please. I
Yes.
know it's been a long week. It's been a particularly long day, but just focus on what you want to argue to me.
and I
Yeah. Yeah. He got told. So, oh, look, it is sus. And the more evidence they put up, the more sus it gets, because then there's 2 minutes missing here, 42 minutes missing here. You know, oh no, the Sally Port video, the camera was too dark. Oh, it's motion censored and it jumps and it misses this bit and then it's mirrored and it's all bullshit. All of it. All bullshit. Yeah. I think after Proctor's testimony, I think she may have softened a little. Put it that way. You seen the guy who does the spoofs on the channel? No, is that a Microdots? I think it's him. I did start watching something. Yes, it has modified, definitely. I think she softened towards the defence after Proctor's statements. And obviously, everything is now compounding. Every witness on witness on witness is further compounding this speculative innuendo of confusion and possibilities of corruption. How can you not? Yes, Auntie Deb. I thought it was Auntie Bev. Oh, hang on. His name on YouTube is Auntie Deb. Oh, okay. Sorry. Different train of thought, Gabby. I was calling Auntie Bev the judge. Okay, Auntie Deb. I shall do that. Auntie Deb. I think someone did an AI reconstruction of the car and the accident and how it could have possibly gone down and what position he would have to have been in and blah, blah. But I'm not sure who did it. I think it was Microdots. But not 100% sure. So I also wanted to, whilst I remember, need to give a big shout out to As the Gavel Drops on Discord, because they are fantastic. I happened to just message one of them, I think it was Calypson's Vixen, and asked them if there was any updates on Ty Tucker's case, because he's got the motions hearing coming up tomorrow. And she was straight back with me, and she messaged me, said, look, there's nothing at the moment. And then a couple of days later, I get a message saying, oh, document drop. And she had like 7 documents there for me, linked it to me. And it was straight away. So as the gavel drops on Discord, they actually have a list of all the current court cases, all the upcoming court cases, and each thread has all the links to all the media stuff, all documents, all sorts of stuff. It's amazing. But it's a fantastic resource. So do go and have a look at them because they are wicked, especially if you're, yes, they do. Yes. And when I did the pre-recording of the document drop before I left to go away for the weekend. And I was in such a rush, I didn't give them a shout out on that video. So my apologies, shout out, done. And I did put a link, I think, in the box, but I will put it in the description box once I've signed off. I can't do it whilst I'm running. So can you think of any other, was there any other evidence, Gabby, that I've missed that I haven't? We've done the cell phones. We've done the text messages, sleazy text messages. We've done the name calling. We've done the tail light. We've done the injuries. We've done the car. The rest is all pretty much circumstantial and speculative, isn't it? I can't think of any more off the top of my head. I think it's been a long day. So, can I see the turd video? The turd video? The turd video. Do you want to see the last 4 minutes of Proctor's cross-examination? Is that the one you're wanting? I've got that. The turd video. Which one, Gabby? You have to refresh my recollection. It's late on a Sunday. And I haven't eaten. Oh, my coffee. That'll fix it. Caffeine and nicotine. Oh, the glare is. Oh, yeah. Hang on. That is funny, isn't it? Eat that turd. I'll get it. Oh, thank you. And Nick can't hear this, but I.
Yeah, eat it, fucker. Eat that shit. Eat that turd.
Do you know, Gabby, I had my first troll yesterday. Yep. First one. And I got told off for laughing too much. And they couldn't hear the commentary or the people talk. So if that's the worst thing that they have to complain about, they can fuck off. So they were blocked. And you're welcome. Yes, they told me that they would be unsubscribing because my laugh interrupted the testimony or some shit, and yeah, they couldn't understand it. So they won't be subscribing and they shall not come back. And I'm like, good. That your stream, your rules, your content. Yeah, true that. But I don't want it to be a place where people feel that they can't speak their minds. But I won't tolerate any hate speech or anything like that. There is no second chance. There is not even a warning. It's just thank you. It is. You want to put it on? You don't get a what is it? Can't say anything nice. You won't get a chance to say it twice. Simple as that. Your laugh is the best, and I love your lives. Thank you. It's me. I am who I am. People watch content creators for their own personal reasons, and everybody's different and unique. Some people will hate me. Some people will like me. I won't get on with everyone. You don't get on with everyone, but there's no one forcing you to be here. So, and there's no one forcing her to watch either. So if you don't like it, move along. Simple. If I don't watch, I've never commented on another creator's site ever if I disagreed with them or if they are who they are. They're entitled to their own opinion and their own thoughts. It's freedom of speech, and there's plenty to go around for everybody. You know, we should all have each other's backs. We should all be promoting one another. We should all be supporting one another. Oh, that's what I was going to say on Friday when the cameras went down. I went on to I went on to see what Brandy Churchwell was doing. So I started streaming her, and she went on to the Glera to see what the Glera was doing. So she was watching the Glera. So I was watching Brandy, watching the Glera, and then the Turtle Boy was in there somewhere as well. He was watching the Glare as well. It was hysterical because every content creator was watching another content creator trying to see what they were doing and streaming their content. It was bloody funny. Just like Popeye, I am what I am. Yes. Yep. And that's me. When I first started the channel, I tried to put myself in this box, I think, and I looked at, like Brandy is just awesome. She's a Southern gal and she's gorgeous and she's, but she's very rigid in her, not that it's a bad thing. It's very matter of fact. Yeah. If that's the best way to explain it. And same, love Scott, love RA. Love the faces he pulls when someone says a swear word or something like that. I am far more relaxed in that capacity than Brandy or RA, and that's just something else. It's something different that I offer. It's not that it's any better or any worse than anybody else. It's just me. I am who I am. They are who they are, and I love them both. They're great. And there is plenty of content, plenty of information, plenty of everything to go around for everybody. So if we all just have each other's backs, it'd be a beautiful place. All right. With that little rant, absolutely, Gabby. Absolutely. People pay for clicks. I'm not monetized yet, George. I've only been on for a couple of months on this channel, so I haven't met the YouTube requirements or criteria to be monetized yet, which is why I can swear and get away with it. They can't demonetize something that's not been monetized. So, what was that? Same on all media platforms, bots and clicks and paid for boosts. What does that? Oh, people pay for people to click on them. Can you buy that? Really? So I should be really proud of that. I've achieved that without cheating. Achieved what I've achieved without cheating.
View for you. You're pretty much saying to somebody else, I'll view yours if you view mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm no expert, but that's just what
Well, there you go. George, you realise you said yes, 3 times? Oh, yes, 4 times. You go, George. You go. I hope you're still talking about media platforms. Because if I read those texts in order, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, Gabby. Oh, thank you. I am proud. I have doubled my subscribers and I've doubled my watch time hours this week alone. You need to get 4,000 watch time hours. And I went, I think, from about 280 at the start of the week to about 700. So hopefully in the next month or so, I shall be able to have hit that target. And it's something that I never thought that I would be able to do. So I am a bit pleased with myself. It does take a lot of work. There is a lot of stuff that behind the scenes isn't necessarily seen. But I love it. It's good. All right. with that, I'm going to finish my coffee and eat. Thanks again. Thanks heaps. Your support is absolutely amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just try not to end up. No, there is nothing generic about me, George. If that's one thing that I can say, absolutely outside the box. Okay. I will one day do a stream on how I got where I am. So I have mentioned that I did nursing for 12 years, and then I was a beautician for 15 years. So I went from inserting things into every possible cavity. Well, actually, I went from getting in trouble for inflicting pain on people to being paid for inflicting pain in people. So if I haven't seen it, I've poked it, squeezed it, washed it, probed it, brushed it. You name it, I've done it.
Somebody call George now.
So yes, not generic at all. Thank you, George. You too. Hope you all had a great weekend. Yes, I'm going to eat and toddle off to a nice warm bed, watch YouTube. And hopefully, well, tomorrow is day, 26? Monday. I think I'll be covering, if they're going to stream Ty Tucker's motions hearing, I'll be covering that. And I'm waiting on an email back from AJ as well. So we're trying to organise a collab on something. She's got something in the works that she wants to put to me. We just haven't been able to. The universe hasn't aligned yet for us to be with the time zones to get together. Yes, so that's in the works. Yeah, it'll be good. Be good. She's awesome. All right. Stay safe, stay warm, stay well, and until next time, I shall bid you adieu.
I plead not guilty to this deed. We were just drinking at the bar. They think I hit you with my car, though I don't really know how, without me damaging the plow. So we found you in the snow. How you got there, I don't know. Brian Alberts was the place where we found your broken face. All the witnesses at trial claim their phones can all but dial. The McCabe say they're your friend, but the truth they surely bend. They will pull out all the stops, protecting all the crooked cops. And those cringy textiles.
Yeah, eat it, fucker. Eat that shit. Eat that turd.
Threats by machines owned by the feds. So Detective Brian's dreams were not disturbed by my shrill screams. Carrie Roberts testified, didn't fake it when she cried. Unlike Jen, who likes to mock a state of horror and of shock. It was February 22 when I last set eyes on you. Death is such a nasty thief of your life, Johnny O'Keefe.